Welcome to Alpha Wolf Capital. I'm Tim, and I want to personally thank you for stopping by. Between the OTC, New York Stock Exchange, and NASDAQ, there are over 22,000 companies traded publicly. I feel that small businesses are the backbone of America. This channel is designed to help small companies, both public and private, gain exposure with potential consumers, investors, even partners. Take, for example, today's guest. CEO Sam Rubin of Lightpath Technologies. At one point, Lightpath was nothing more than a commoditized supplier of lenses. Under Sam's leadership, they have become an AI infrared, optical design and engineering firm with fabrication, freeform optics, infrared glass manufacturing, assembly and integration, and more. They are positioned extremely well for the drone industry and for robotics, but I'll let Sam tell you more about that in just a minute. It's important that you understand that I do not collect compensation for the interviews I do here. I look for companies that could provide an above average return on investment, but more importantly, I'm looking for companies that can have an impact on humanity in a positive way. There's a thing called impact investing. It's tied to environmental, social, and governance. There are amazing companies out there addressing real problems. And unfortunately, no one knows about those companies because they're too small. I am asking you to listen to these interviews and fully comprehend what it is that they are trying to accomplish. And if it resonates with you, help the company spread the word. Help them as a potential investor or a brand ambassador. The goal here is to solve problems that humanity has and have a positive impact on humanity. You can either choose to be part of that goal or you can choose to take no action. It's entirely up to you. But that is the purpose of this channel. This video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. I am not a financial advisor. I recommend highly that before buying any security, you speak to a financial advisor and do your own due diligence. Hey everybody, Tim from Alpha Wolf Capital with a follow-up interview with a company that has had some fantastic news. Has not been reflected in the share price, but I think that's just a reflection of the overall uncertainty that is within the market right now. Sam Rubin, Lightpath Technologies, ticker symbol LPTH. Sam, how's it going, man?
All good. Other than stock price, everything is great.
So, we were just chatting prior to hopping on, and one of the things that I said is you've had some really incredibly good news, and it seems like it was a nothing burger when it has been told to everyone, right? So why don't you give us real quickly, give us a little snapshot of what happened and why it's so important.
Yeah. So, in the last few years, and you've been following closely as well as a lot of your listeners, we've been transitioning Lightpath strategically from where it was 4 years ago, being a pure component company selling individual lenses for $5, $10, $50 a lens, to now more of a system company, going into making assembly, sub-assembly systems, cameras, and so on. So, it's very important, the transition. It's the growth and the future of the company. We are now delivering on that. So we've seen new wins from our side of things like, a missile system we're working with for Lockheed, where we're making the entire camera system for a new missile that's going to be thousands of dollars per missile. We already awarded it. It's a program of record, which in the defense talk, it means it's a line item on the federal budget. It means the Congress has budgeted it. We are the sole supplier to Lockheed Martin for that camera system. It's going to go into every one of those missiles, thousands of dollars per missile, tens of thousands of missiles. because this is replacing the Stinger missile, which the Ukraine's depleted the inventory. There's almost no Stinger missiles left, right? And if the US, God forbid, needs to go to war now or needs to supply another ally like Ukraine with missiles, there are no missiles. So extremely important program, extremely high profile within the army, accelerated instead of being on 3 to 5 years. They're trying to complete it all in less than 3 years, which is insane in army terminology. This is where we said we want to go 4 years ago when we started the transition. We said, in our ideal scenario, where does it take us? It takes us to leverage our technologies instead of making the individual lenses for $50 a piece. Let's make a camera system for $8,000 a piece, $10,000 a piece. And now we did it. We achieved last month flight-worthy status, meaning our units are tested and ready to actually be assembled onto a missile and start flying. That's huge. It's something Lightpath was never able to do 4 years ago. Extremely lucrative, extremely high-profile project.
But
And like you said,
can I
yep,
ask, missiles pretty much go one direction, right?
yeah, pretty much, yes.
I mean, if it goes, it's not coming back.
Well, you hope not, yeah.
Right. You know that. So that means to me that you're going to have another missile that's going to need another camera. It's guaranteed pipeline
It's
of.
a razor blade. It's a razor blade model. It's a disposable product. If I'm going to put it at $8,000 per missile, and they're planning to make 10,000 missiles a year, we're talking about, $80 million potentially, right?
Right.
If it, it's just such big numbers for companies that currently it's $35 million in revenue, that it's mind-boggling to me that the market hasn't caught on to that.
Right. It's not as though you're in the running. You are now part of. You're an approved product. And what does that mean? That is that it may have been in the army, but now it's Department of Defense, right?
Right. So Lockheed is competing against Raytheon, right?
Yeah.
And the army might choose one of them or both of them, right? For the actual production. The key here is that, this is such a key technology that Lockheed is already taking it and going to apply it to two more missile systems. So even if this one missile system gets awarded to Raytheon, there are two more and so on. So, we've made it in a sense of we are an approved supplier for Lockheed Martin for a camera system, for thousands of dollars a missile camera system, something we could only dream of before. But even if you don't want to think about those two other programs, just think of this one program and say it's a 50-50 chance. I mean, you're talking about a 50-50 chance of a company tripling its size in the next 18 months. Just look at it as an option, even for that, we're not priced correctly.
All right. So you're getting no love there. I mean, Sam,
Yep.
look, you know how I feel about what you've been able to accomplish. And
Yeah.
you walked into a shitstorm, and that's being kind, right? At a terrible time. If you
Yep.
rehash all of that, but you can go back and watch the previous interviews that we've done. Sam came into a very, very tough situation and a very tough time. And this company has done everything that they said they were going to do through a very, I would say, challenging economic environment, right?
Yep.
So that's one of the biggest keys for me when it comes to a company is, do they do what they say they're going to do? And
Exactly.
I would say you do what you say you're going to do. It may take longer,
Yep.
but that's
Well, pretty much, you're absolutely right. We cleaned up we can spend the whole hour talking just about that, but we cleaned up just about anything you imagine can go wrong with a company. We went through that and we cleaned all of that up. That's done. The company is healthy. It's good now, right? we set a new strategy. We said in 4 years' time we'll be making cameras. Well, you know what? We're making cameras. Last week we received our first order and shipped for cameras that is $30,000 a piece. For a company that only a couple of years ago was making lenses for $50 and felt like making an assembly for $500 is a massive step, selling a camera for $30,000, that's even bigger. You know, I mean, this is, like you said, we are where we said we're going to go. Exactly where we said we're going to go.
Right. And there are, I mean, we could talk about this too, and I'm gonna tell everybody straight up. I asked him if he wanted to talk about this subject, and he said, "You know what? I don't want to keep beating the same drum." And
Yeah.
no, but the reality is this: you have BD6,
Mhm.
which is for infrared, right?
Yeah.
Germanium is used for that. The number one supplier of germanium in the world is China.
Yeah.
They control the supply. BD6 is as good a quality, and it's made right here in the United States.
Yep.
And in my head, and this is my bad, and this is something that investors in general probably need to hear because I say this all the time. As as obvious as something may be to you, and how much sense it makes, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be adopted the way you think it's going to be adopted.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Because why? Because human beings resist change. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And it will happen. I believe it will happen in the heart of my heart. I know that eventually BD6 will probably become.
Well, it is happening. I say common sense, it's happening, right? It's just not happening in the, you know, flood event that we all thought or hoped would happen once China started limiting export of germanium. It hasn't because some people, even though they see the writing on the wall, you know, China is even, you know, putting the writing on the wall in the form of big posters and everything, they will still avoid doing the change until they absolutely have to. And between stockpiles of germanium or finding ways to buy germanium at a, you know, nearly twice the price it was before, there's some people that are just gonna keep going until they absolutely have to, right? I mean, history teaches us that half of the economy doesn't see what's coming, right? I mean, that's typically the case, you know. It, you know, a storm can be coming, and there's always going to be those half of the people that are going to look the other way and say, well, I still see blue sky. So, you know, the thing is, it's simply taking longer, but it's definitely happening. Yeah.
Right. And I think that is a massive opportunity that hasn't gone away.
Nope.
It's just and which can be a little surprise,
Yep.
right? I mean, if it really does start to snowball, which I think, the more customers you get,
Yeah.
uh, the easier. I mean, it's hard to get the first 10 customers.
Yeah.
Going from 10 to 50 is easier, and going from
Well, those same people that you know are averse to change love following success. So, so those same people that really hate change, when they start seeing a few being very successful, all of a sudden it's not going to be change in their view. It's going to be a strategic, brilliant decisions that they're going to make because look, all the rest are doing it and it's so successful.
Yep, exactly.
Absolutely right. Yep.
Yep. All
You
right.
know, if we were not investors and CEOs, we should have been psychologists because clearly that is half of our job.
That is so true. That is so
Yeah.
true. All right. So we talk about the camera systems. We talk about Lockheed and the win there, right? Being system record, is that what it is?
Program of record.
Program of record. I
Yeah.
know for a fact that within the Department of Defense, that is a huge deal because it opens you up to Yes,
It's a line item on the congressional budget. It means it's funded already for the next 5 years. And, yeah, it's a very big deal. So that's where everyone wants to be.
just
Program of record.
putting your product in the thing and saying, I want 200,000 of these,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yep. Yeah,
Great.
and we have not only one, we have two of those. We have the Lockheed programs we keep talking about, but we also have the Apache program, which we haven't talked a lot about, but it's also a big system that is going to go onto all Apache helicopters and that is going to replace the camera systems there. And in this case, we're not only the supplier of record, we're the exclusive and only supplier of record because it's all based on the materials that are exclusive to us. So it's not like anyone can even sweep in and cut the price or anything like that. There is no. We have an exclusive license for that technology. So that is another program of record, and that's going to be, maybe not as massive as Lockheed, but also in the tens of millions of dollars. Yeah.
Right. So I guess as I sit here and we're talking about these wonderful things, then we have to ask ourselves, well, what the hell is wrong with the share price? Right? I mean,
Yeah.
everything is rosy. What is wrong with the share price? And I think, as I said, that has a lot to do with the uncertainty in the economy itself.
Yeah.
The SEC is not exactly helping small cap uh, companies. They're creating some challenges. So, I'm looking at this thing and I'm saying, okay, here's the other issue, probably, is that there just aren't enough people that understand the story and even aware of Lightpath, right? And that's a shame because it really has been a transformational story, right?
Yeah.
It's getting better and better. It's not like this, still a pie in the sky dream. You're executing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is exciting stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we're so successful on the camera business, nibbling at FLIR and taking away market share, that one of their executives moved over to us. Jason Messerschmidt joined us as VP Sales. He was responsible for North America sales at FLIR. I mean, that's how big of an impact we're making on the camera market. And people don't get it because they all remember FLIR as big, but Teledyne acquired FLIR, and FLIR started losing a bit of momentum and focused a bit too much on being integrated into Teledyne and so on. And we're coming in and sweeping into that market big time.
You know, people like to talk about the big companies,
Yeah.
and I can give you a real good example. There used to be this gorilla, 800-pound gorilla Blockbuster. And then there was this little itty bitty company called Netflix.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But the thing about that is when you're small, you're very nimble,
Yeah.
right? Where when you're big, it's challenging to change direction or come up with new product lines, right? It's hard
Yeah.
because there's so many layers of red tape.
Look, we came up with a new camera that, I think I mentioned we're selling for $30,000, right? A camera for helping to optimize CO2 emissions out of furnaces and power plants. It's a furnace camera that's going to go into power plants across the US. Whether it's a coal power plant or a biofuel or gas, they all have to be optimized. You all have to be able to see it inside. We built from idea to prototype tested in the field was 2 months for us. A company like FLIR would take 2 months just to get approved to start thinking about the new product, and then another year and a half to design the product until they come out with it.
Right.
This turning around super fast is what is gaining us the market share. Everything is changing. The emissions requirements, both in Europe and the US, are changing drastically. In April of this year, both Environmental Protection Agency in the US and European Union passed very stringent requirements on emissions, methane emissions, CO2 emissions out of power plants, things like that. These technologies, being able to turn around the cameras that can detect methane leaking out of a natural gas pipe, that's a big deal. Doing that in 2 months instead of 2 years, gains us big time first in the market.
Tim, do you have the intellectual property protection on that?
Yeah, we have everything we do is based one way or another on some unique technologies that we have. Right? The materials are the main driver, but not only. We acquired Visimid a year ago and doubled the sales. Visimid brought in IP on the camera level that is allowing us to now develop those cameras. A uncooled, relatively cheap handheld camera that can detect a leak out of a natural gas pipeline, is a big deal instead of $150,000 cameras that you need today. So yeah, that's all part of our IP and part of the uniqueness we bring.
Okay. All right. So let me,
Great.
the one thing that people are concerned about right now in this environment with small companies is their need to potentially raise cash, right?
Yep.
Where are you, Sam?
Yeah, so we're cash flow positive. We're not burning cash in operations. Operationally, we're cash flow positive. We're EBITDA positive now. But to, you know, remove some of those constraints or help people with that, we took on a loan and we brought in a few millions of dollars into our balance sheet, which we're not using, we're not burning through. It's just really just building up our balance sheet because we acknowledge, yeah, the market is a bit worried about that today. And because of interest rate, because of what's happening with other companies, not even related to us, right? We're operationally cash flow positive. We don't need that. But to have a bit of cash on the balance sheet, we think will help our investors calm down a bit. So we did that.
Right. Actually, so that I would say that that is being astute as to what's happening around situational awareness, I would say,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. Yep.
Saying, look, we're gonna give ourselves a little insurance policy,
Exactly.
right? In case things go a little wacky, we're gonna be okay, right?
Yep. Yep. And we can, not that we plan on burning into it. Our discipline is very strong on not burning cash in our operations. We're not a biotech company or a startup. We're a grown-up manufacturing company. But if it helps people sleep at night, knowing that we have a few more millions in the balance sheet, so be it.
All right. So let's talk about the fact that you know you came in. I mean, there were expansions of factories and capabilities, and
Yep.
where are you in that process? Is that
Yeah, we've invested nearly $16 million, $16 million in the factories in the US and Europe. We've completely de-emphasized our China operation, which used to be 3 buildings in China consolidated into one now. So made them far more efficient, smaller. We've emphasized manufacturing in the US. We've tripled the manufacturing space here in Orlando in the US. We've added capabilities in Europe that allowed us to get the defense license in Europe, which means that we can now provide into the defense industry in Europe products that are completely made in Europe, A to Z, in our European facility. And of course, in the US, we have an ITAR facility, that will get clearance soon, that will be able to produce, very high-end products. Again, those cameras for $30,000, $10,000, and so on. Those are all US. China is left for the $5 lenses, and to keep pushing that through.
all right? So yeah, let's talk. You didn't give up on the lens business. It's still there.
Oh, it's still there. It pays the bill, right? But again, we're a $35 million company. Imagine how many more lenses we need to sell to grow if we're selling a product at $50. If we're selling a product at $10,000, the top line growth is completely different. So
Right.
that's where we're going, yeah, and that's where the growth is coming from.
Right. Right. So, there's some other things too that you have unique. You have freeform lenses, right?
We have a lot going on in a lot of different technologies, a lot of different areas. But at the end of the day, our goal is to leverage all of those from selling the, $50 lenses or $5 lenses to selling the thousands of dollars or tens of thousands of dollar cameras.
Right.
And that's what we're doing. Like you said at the beginning, we're delivering exactly on what we said we would do.
Yeah. So, and that's why we're doing this follow up, right? Maybe we don't do it enough. Maybe maybe we should do it often because it gets.
I definitely need to see you more. You bring a smile to my face. So
Well, you know what? I can't wait until the company. I can't wait until you get rewarded, and the shareholders that have been in the stock for a long time
yeah,
get rewarded.
yeah,
For, because look, if you weren't executing, if you weren't doing the things you said you were going to do,
yeah.
I wouldn't be here, right? And
Right.
that's the thing is that
I probably also wouldn't have been here. I probably would have got canned a while ago, right? But I'm doing exactly what I said I would do. So
right. You've transformed the company. You and your team have done a phenomenal job. Keep doing. I always get people give me a hard time because I'm too soft, I guess, on the people that I interview. What people,
give me a hard question. Come on, let's see.
I'm not, here's the thing. People don't understand. First of all, if I don't like the person that's running the company,
You're not going to even bring them on.
I'm not going to be investing in them.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to be, if I have to be hostile with someone during an interview, that to me would be an indication that I'm in the wrong investment, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
If I like to invest in people I like, that I
Yeah.
respect, that I think are doing great things. That's who I want to invest with.
Yeah. Sure.
Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone, unless you're
Except
perfect.
my wife. Yeah.
Except your wife. That's funny. Good job, man.
Yeah. I hope she's listening. Yeah.
Send her a copy. Look, everybody makes mistakes, and when you're looking at a previous quarter, what is the point of talking about a previous quarter?
Yeah.
It's done. We can't go back and change it.
Yeah.
What I want to know is where we're going,
Yeah.
and how do you feel about where we're going, Sam?
Yeah. I mean, we're where we want to be. This is where we wanted to be. We wanted to be at a point that we have programs of record, that we have products that can sell for thousands of dollars, that they're creating real value, so we can capture that value. You just can't create that much value when you're selling a component that's being commoditized. You can create value when you understand the world is changing. Environmental requirements are requiring cameras in all power plants and petrochemical industries, that the defense industry is changing, that, no one in the government wants to put now billions of dollars into a program that's going to take 5 years to make it. And by the time they finish designing it, it's going to be already obsolete technology. The government wants companies like us that can take an idea and within 2 months come up with a prototype and start shipping the next week after that. Because that's what is happening. The technology is changing so quickly. If you let the primes do it the old way, you're going to be behind the curve all the time.
So artificial intelligence too. Did we touch on that? We really didn't
We
touch.
didn't, and we're integrated that into our cameras. We did a play there that is really paying off, where we said, the world does not need another company developing a AI algorithm or training an AI machine or something. The world does need help taking those things that were trained on ChatGPT or NVIDIA or so on and actually implementing it in the field. How do you take that and implement it on the edge, what's called in the field, without installing a massive NVIDIA computer? So we took a AI accelerator chip made by an Israeli company, Halo, and together with another Israeli company, Maris Technology, took that chip and integrated it into the camera level. into the video pipeline. So you can literally just bring algorithms that you trained, use a standard format like ONNX, an open source neural network format, download it onto the camera, and it will start running. And whatever you trained it to do, it will do at the camera level. So you don't need a big computer next to it. You don't need to stream the information back to Amazon Web Services. You can have a smart camera running with whatever it is you trained. And people love that because they keep saying, look how many companies specialize in the training and the software, but have no idea how to implement it in real life.
Right.
This gives them the way to implement it.
So I'm glad we touched on that, man, because
Yeah. Again, so many great things happening. I keep forgetting even everything there is.
I mean, I guess the thing that I would say to everyone is that optics are not going away.
No,
They are
it's
getting
not
more
at all.
and
Yeah,
more critical for just about every industry that you can think of, right? I mean,
absolutely.
talk about the automotive, right?
Yeah.
The mandate for what is it, 2020?
2029 emergency braking systems that can detect a pedestrian in pitch black condition. By 2029, every car that hits the road should be able to see a pedestrian from about 100 yards away and identifies that that is the pedestrian, even if it's pitch dark, cloud sky, no moonlight, nothing in the middle of the night. The only way to do it is thermal imaging. And we're there. We're already, qualified into one of the car companies.
BD6.
Yeah, exactly. We're there.
It's coming. It's coming. I
Yeah,
can't tell you when it's coming, but it's coming, right?
yeah,
You're positioned extremely well. Robotics are, I think, going to get bigger, right?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's
And
all.
you're going to need cameras and they're going to need AI and, all of that. Someone needs to take these great ideas that are, you keep seeing them in ChatGPT or in the media news and actually implement them. I mean, taking that and implementing it is not an easy task.
Right.
Rolling out AI to actually work in a camera in the field to detect when something bad happens or something like that is not simple. And you can't do it just using NVIDIA GPUs. The world is going to run out of electrical power if everyone is going to try to use NVIDIA GPUs to run all the AI.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah. Listen, I love what you're doing.
thanks.
Keep doing what you're doing. And do you see any potential catalysts in the near term horizon that you're
I'm
what
I'm hoping that,
that's
yeah,
that could really say, yeah, they're executing. I mean,
yeah. So we're expecting to start seeing, more and more orders for the camera business, and we'll try to share those, even if they're small and, don't seem material. I think people need to see those, gradual steps. We're going to ship units for flight tests soon for Lockheed, so we'll update about that. We'll start updating about all these programs, even in smaller increments. I'm a very conservative person. I'm not going to put out. Usually, I would not put out a press release if it's not something meaningful to say. But I also understand that the market needs those small steps. They need to see, hey, they got an order for $500,000. It's $500,000 material? No, but it's $500,000 of a system that can lead to $10 million a year. So yeah, maybe people want to see that.
I would say becoming a preferred vendor for
Yeah, for
you know
Lockheed and yeah,
that's a feather in the cap right there.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
That validates Lightpath in a huge way,
Yeah,
right? Those kinds of orders, even if it is only like you said, 500,000, whatever, it doesn't matter because you just got a new
yeah,
product, right?
yeah,
It's about taking care of that customer, having a great
yeah,
product, service,
yeah,
and you just pulled, and I'm glad you brought up, you're attracting some talent to your workforce.
Mm-hmm.
Probably, I would say, has some connections,
Yep.
right? These are good. These are all positive things
Yeah.
for adding up, right?
Yep.
I would suggest, and I'm just going to real quickly talk about the chart because
Sure.
it's testing the $1 area,
Yeah.
which is all-time lows. And you know, it's funny because I look at the company and it's nowhere remotely close to the weak company that it was
Mm-hmm.
some years ago when it was trading at, you know, much higher prices. And the company is I would say 10 times stronger than it was back
Yeah.
then, right? Not he just told you you got nothing to worry about from the standpoint of um, a
Passion.
capital
Yep.
raise, right? They're cash flow positive. You know, when do you hit profitability? That's I guess maybe the question, Sam. When do you hit profitability and have
I
success?
think within this fiscal year. So we just started our fiscal year, and I think within this fiscal year we have a very good chance of reaching profitability.
Okay.
Definitely.
Uh, and that maybe that's what people are waiting for. I don't know. But I can
Maybe.
tell you
Yeah.
this. You've now tested this $1 area 3 times. And you know, I would suggest that this area right here, after hearing everything you just heard, would probably be an excellent place to start dipping your toe. Now, I'm not going to say that it couldn't go lower. Anything's possible.
Sure.
Um, But for what is happening within the company, for all of the products that they have approved and the customers that they are now dealing with, I would suggest that this would be a great place to start dipping your toe. And if it winds up taking out, because it's really kind of been trading between 160 or so and $1, right? It's like trading in a box. If it breaks above a buck 60 and closes above there, now you've started a new trend from the lower left to the upper right, right? So what you want to see is the stock price putting in some uh, higher lows, right? So you have a pop up, it doesn't go back down and test that low, it continues to stair step up. And the level to watch for would be a break over 160. And then $2 is another big area of potential resistance. But I think once things really start to flow, start to hum, that'll be a very temporary scene.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
all right. I'm not telling anybody what to do. I'm not telling anybody to buy it. I'm saying do your due diligence, take a look at the company, put them on your watch list, go to their website, pull up investor email alerts, and have them sent directly to your email. That way, when news comes out, it's right there in your mailbox. Start following the story. This is going to be one that you will be happy that you started to follow. Okay. Sam, thank
Good
you.
seeing you, Tim.
All right. Hold on one second.
Okay.
I'm going to shut this off. Thank you for tuning in to another CEO interview here at Alpha Wolf Capital. I hope you enjoyed today's interview. We had Sam Rubin from Lightpath Technologies, ticker symbol LPTH. If you did like today's interview, do us a favor, give us a like. How about giving us a share? And while you're at it, make sure you smash that subscribe button. All of those things are extremely important to us here at Alpha Wolf Capital, and we appreciate you taking the time to do that. Until next time, stay safe. Alpha Wolf Capital wishes you the very best of success.